guys, here come the Dollies. They got fresh sinkers, hot coffee, and the sweetest smile.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Clubmobile.
Hello. Good morning. Why do I do that?
morning. Because it's morning for me and you, and it's good morning.
That's very true, but it's not morning for anyone else.
Depending on when they listen to this, it could be.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are.
Okay, now you sound
in the
like,
world.
what's that movie, The Truman Show?
I've never seen it.
You're
Never
giving,
seen it.
You're giving Truman Show vibes.
Maybe that's where I got it from. I've just seen pictures of it. Anyway, we are going to be answering questions about ourselves today. We put something on our Instagram a week or two ago.
A while ago, we'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put some questions out there for you guys, or we asked you guys to kick some questions over to us. We thought it was probably high time we let you guys get to know us.
Yeah, we've been here for a while now.
We've
And
been here for a
everyone knows
while.
nothing.
I guess they should get to know us a little bit better. But this was actually inspired by Harriet Leitch.
Yeah, if you listen to the previous episode, there's a part where she kind of turned the tables on us and said, wait, my turn.
She did, and she did the same thing when I met her for drinks when she was visiting New York. She really, the bartender put the drinks in front of us and she went, okay, so. And I said, oh gosh, is this how people feel when we have them on the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay,
said,
so.
Let me grill. Like, okay, great.
So we decided it would be a good opportunity to answer some questions about ourselves, kind of keep this very casual, as if we don't keep the podcast casual enough.
The most casual, I would say.
This is going to be the most casual, probably most relaxed episode we're going to do for a bit. We're just going to grill each other. Get ready. I got questions for you.
Someone needs a spotlight upon both of us, so it's all tense and like lie detectory.
What's the turn the lights down? Like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Wait, it's the same theme music in both countries. Okay, love that.
Okay.
That makes me feel better.
Check that off my list.
I haven't watched it since I left England.
The same in England. No,
it's the same here and in England.
That's pretty cool.
Because imagine if we'd have done that and it would have been two totally different theme songs.
Just two totally different sounds. We would have sounded like.
Would have sounded ridiculous.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
You go ahead. You ask the first
one. The first one. How did we meet?
Like everyone does these days on the internet. You know that thing our parents warned us against: don't speak to strangers on the internet.
Don't talk to strangers on the internet. Don't get into strangers' cars. You know, everything we do now.
Yeah, now we take Ubers and talk to people we've never met on the little screens in our pockets. Oopsie.
But we did. We met on the internet in a Masters of the Air chat group.
Yeah, it was on Discord.
It was on Discord. It was a Masters of the Air driven group.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people in that group.
We say that, but we had met in passing, like in 2020 during lockdown.
We were in the same rooms, and I say rooms. We were in the same Zoom
meeting rooms.
We Happy Few, with a lot of the people that we now call our core little group.
Without realizing
it. And that's funny enough. The same instance with Claire, who you guys have heard us mention Claire 100 times by now, but Claire was the I don't want to say the victim of Matt Leitch being Matt Leitch, but
no, she was though.
She was watching the Zoom while putting her infant son to sleep, and Matt just added her to the live. And he says to her, well, why are you in the dark?
Because I'm putting my son to bed, she said.
And now fast forward 5 years later, she's like, I remember when Matt added me to the live, and I was like, that was you. And it was all of a sudden this very like moment where, oh, well, we've kind of interacted
Yeah.
with each other in passing and in like very casual instances. So here's this, but you and I were in that group.
Yeah, on Discord.
I'd say it was about a year ago. So
Yeah.
surprise, we've only really been friends for about a year.
Yeah.
And we would talk very casually, and then there was something in the group I was going to a baby shower, I think, and I
it
needed
was
help.
St. Patrick's Day or something.
And it was, yes, and I was looking for advice from the ladies in the group on which dress to wear to this party. And Winnie sent me a message on the side and was like, wear that one and also send me the link. And that was it.
We haven't shut up since.
We haven't stopped bothering each other since.
No, truly, it's been all day, every day since St. Patty's Day of 24.
Yes,
What
it
year
has
is it?
been. It has been. It's been just like that. But very much a case of we were running in the same circles, kind of knew each other's faces from passing, kind of put the pieces together, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Let's
start a podcast.
Which I think leads us into our next question. What made you decide to start the podcast? I think it was one of those midnight thoughts where I think for me it was 10 p.m. we were on the phone. For you it was 2 a.m. because it was like the only time we would talk was an evening.
We were only really able to, we would text all the time.
Yeah.
We were only ever really able to get a good chat in, like a good, what'd you do this week, you know?
Yeah.
When we would get to like Saturday night, because just scheduling and getting up early for work, you know, I'm not a night owl on nights that I have to go to the office the next day.
Yeah.
So on Saturday nights, there's like a 3-hour time difference between us. So it would be 8 for you, 11 for me. And, you know, you start out good at 11 o'clock.
And then we start
11
like
p.m.
fading.
on a Saturday, you start out strong. And then you slowly, you know, the conversation starts, you're on the couch. Then you slowly start to close the lights in the apartment, migrate to bed. Are you still there? Uh-huh.
I'm fading.
I'm here. I'm here. But it was really one of those instances where I was posting a lot of historical stuff on my Instagram, on my personal Instagram. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that people who don't know me, this side of me, are getting sick of seeing it. I really want a place to put it all.
Yeah.
Like I want a place to kind of be this version of myself. And we were talking and it was, we should do something. Was the initial we should do something. Okay, what are we gonna do?
With
something's a pretty broad subject.
I think we agreed initially just to start Instagram.
Just to start a page on Instagram, because there were a lot of people that had Instagram pages where they would share history facts and, you know, moments and anniversaries. And we're like, oh, let's start a page. And we were talking one night, and I think it was maybe one of the nights where I was so sleep deprived that I was like wired. And it was like maybe 1 or 2 in the morning. And I said, you know what? F it, right? Let's start a podcast. We talk all the time anyway. Let's start a podcast.
Let's have other people listen to that.
Let's subject other people to listening to us.
Let's force them into it.
And it was very much, let's start a podcast. Okay, what do we want to do? And I think we really narrowed it down to, well, the girls don't get enough love.
Yeah. I think we were even talking about the Red Cross girls in Masters of the Air, where we said that we wish that they had more time. We wish that they had more screen time.
That's a conversation that happens more often than you think between Winnie and I.
I wonder what became of them. I wonder where they ended up. I wonder.
And I think it was, let's Google Tatty Spats and see what comes up. Not much.
Was like nothing.
And I was like, there's not much here. I want to know more. And that was it. That was the moment where I was like, okay. And we launched the page on, I believe, October 1st.
Yeah.
And we dropped our first episode on December 11th.
So really, it's only been
a few months. We're coming up to 6 months in June.
Yeah.
Which seems like December was a lifetime ago, and yet here we are.
We're still doing it. I thought we'd do like one and be like,
Not for
nah,
us.
no,
Let's just keep it as a
It
page,
turns
right?
out,
Turns
actually,
out we really enjoy this.
we're not too bad at it either. We hope.
I think
We hope.
the most important part of it, though, really, is that we enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah, but we say this every single weekend where it gets to Friday night where we kind of have got into this rhythm or routine of we'll set up the coffee for the next morning.
Yeah.
We'll lay out clothes like we're excited kids going on a field trip the next
I said it to
day.
you last night. I said,
Yeah.
I just put the coffee together for tomorrow and I put everything out and I was like, okay, I'm gonna like get myself ready for bed
I'm gonna go to bed now.
I'm gonna go
I'm
to
so
bed now.
excited.
I do look forward to I used to be such a lazy mom on Saturday mornings
Mm.
because, you work all week and whatever.
Yeah.
And you want to just lay there on Saturday. And sometimes I would lay
Yeah.
in bed till like 11 a.m. and then I'd be like, what
Half
am
my
I
day gone.
doing? I genuinely look forward to getting up, getting on Zoom with
Yeah.
Winnie. I mean, and I always feel bad. I'm like, you sure you want to do it on Saturday? Because it's super early. It's 6 a.m. for you when we do most of these.
Yeah.
And it's 9 a.m. for me. So for me, like 9 a.m.'s
Yeah.
kind of pushing that normal morning time.
Yeah.
People are up, people are doing things.
Mm.
And I always feel bad that you have to do it so early, but you keep
It's not
telling
that
me, I
bad.
swear I love it.
It's honestly, I love it so much that I would wake up even earlier if I had to.
Is it because I'm gonna kick this question over to you? Is it because this is your time away from
Yes.
kids and the husband and
Yeah.
it's Winnie time?
That's exactly it. And it's quiet.
It's quiet.
And
So
I'm
there is
by
something to be
myself.
said about that hour of the day. It's kind of peaceful.
It's peaceful. I get to, go about the start of my day by myself and kind of just chill out. And then I get to do the thing that I love. And it's my thing. It's my time. No one else can, kind of invade it.
I really respect that. I really respect that.
Yeah. So
And
yeah,
I
well,
think
6
that's
a.m.
great
is
that you
crazy
get
early.
it.
Yeah. 6
Not
a.m.
that
is
you
crazy early, but it's very early.
We do what we have to do.
We do what we gotta do. If it's the only way it fits and it's the only way we can get it done,
We do look forward to
it.
the days where I have off from work and we can do something in the middle of the week, though.
Yes, that is also very true.
We do.
Where it's like
when we look at the calendar
lunchtime.
for the upcoming month and it's like, okay, I have off on this day and this day and this day. Let's squeeze something in.
Let's try and squeeze something
and maybe
in
we can both
somehow.
sleep in a little bit on Saturday.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Those are fun weekends. Those are
Yeah.
fun times.
They are. I think the next question is really good. Favorite HBO war moments and characters.
Whoever asked that, whoever you are that asked it,
sick, actually.
You're asking me to pick my favorite child.
It's
I hope
it's
you
like,
know you're asking me to pick my favorite child.
Literally.
That's a terribly hard question to answer.
I think we could do it in a way of we go through each series.
We could go through each series, but I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't have
a favorite in the Pacific. I'm so sorry.
It has nothing to do with not liking
I think
or
it's great.
respecting the Pacific theater during the war.
Yeah.
Please understand that. There is something about Band. Band is the original. Band is the first. Band is the firstborn, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Masters is the baby.
Yes.
And you always love the firstborn and the baby, I guess.
So you're saying the Pacific has middle child syndrome?
I think yes. Pacific has middle child syndrome.
You're trying to tell me.
But I also think that there's something about, and this is no shade. And you know what? Favorite character, I'm gonna go with, I don't have a favorite character. I do. I quite like Sledgehammer. And it's probably because I did the Leonardo DiCaprio point when I saw him and I went, oh, it's the little boy from Jurassic Park. And this was before Bohemian Rhapsody had come out. So obviously people who watch it later go, oh, it's John Deacon from Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's what I did because I watched Bohemian. I watched Band and Pacific really late. So when I watched the Pacific, I said, it's the guy from Bohemian Rhapsody. And then the season moves on. It's the other guy.
Yes, Joel Mazzello and Rami Malek
Yeah.
I think that's a friendship that's very, very cool. That's a really cool friendship.
That is a really nice friendship. Yeah.
Go through your careers, and both times you worked together to play and to portray real individuals who have made two completely different impacts on the world.
Oh, yeah.
One who was part of the greatest generation, and one who changed the course of music for forever.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury was a force. But
absolutely.
As far as the Pacific, I'm gonna say my favorite cast member is Scott Gibson.
Yes.
Simply because he really is neck deep in it. He
loves it.
Keeping the history of Ack alive. He keeps Andy Haldane's history alive. He reminds people who he was. So my favorite cast member from the Pacific, it's so sweet, is Scott Gibson.
Yeah.
Joe Mazzello is right up there. You're right up there, Joe Mazzello. And Remy, but it's got to be Scott Gibson for me.
I don't have a favorite Pacific character.
I
think it's because I've watched it one time. I'm halfway through it again. I'm trying again. But it's so gritty, and it is gritty. So if you watch, obviously you're gonna watch Band of Brothers first, and then you move straight on. You're like, oh my God.
That's a conversation I have with my dad a lot.
Yeah.
Band versus the Pacific. And it's always that the Pacific theater was just that's how it was. They were out in the jungle. They didn't have and you say the same thing, band, they were able to at some point seek shelter, right? There'd be bombed out houses. They would at least have a roof over their head. Even if it was cold, they'd have a roof over their head.
They'd have something.
There was nothing in the jungle in the Pacific. There was nothing out there. And then you say the same, that maybe the men of the 100th were a little more, not spoiled or coddled, but when they were grounded or they were on the ground, they had a base. It wasn't, there was no foxholes, but then again, there's no foxholes in the sky. So it all kind of, it's 6 1 half dozen of the other, if you think about it that way. But they had a bed every night and a roof over their head, even though those Nissen huts were either brutally cold or painfully hot.
Yeah, there was still
they had a roof over their head and a bed to lay down in, even if the mattress was paper thin.
Exactly.
So each theater had its own.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite band character?
Who's my favorite band character? I was talking about this last night actually with my husband. I've been really thinking about it since we got this question, and I've changed my mind 18 different times. It's Carwood Lipton. Truly. Like, if I'm gonna watch one episode, I'm gonna go to that one.
The one where Donnie Wahlberg narrates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but obviously my number 2 is always gonna be Doc Rowe. But recently it's been Lip. I'm so sorry, Doc, but it's been Lip. And here's a fun fact about Gabby. Gabby has met Donnie Wahlberg. Tell him all.
Tell him how you met Donnie Wahlberg.
Tell him.
Fun fact, I'm also a New Kids on the Block fan. That's what happens when you're an 80s baby. And I had been to my fair share of concerts.
Yeah.
And this was 3 years ago. A friend of mine, the concert was on my friend's birthday, and she was like, since it's my birthday and whatever, maybe we should spring for the VIP. I said, okay. So we can spring for we'll save and we'll spring for the VIP. It'll be fun. So with that, you get this kind of meet and greet where you and whoever you're with, and then it's a group of 10 people. So 2 people to each new kid.
That's smart.
You get your picture taken with the new kids. Yeah. And I mean, it becomes this whole big thing on Facebook where they're like, I have a group, or I need a group, or I have 2 Donnie girls looking for a Joey girl. And it's like a lottery. It was exhausting to the point where I was like, oh my God, I'm exhausted with this.
That's
trying to find a place for my friends and I to squeeze in, because we were like, everybody guns for Donnie.
Yeah.
Donnie Wahlberg, if you're listening. everybody wants their picture with you.
Everyone wants their picture with Donnie. But I can imagine everyone's going in talking about like Blue Bloods.
That's the thing. Everybody that meets him, and you get to talk very briefly, like give each guy a hug and say hi.
Yeah.
And we did end up standing with Donnie, which was really cool. And everybody's like, "Oh, when's the new season of Blue Bloods coming out? Oh, I love Blue Bloods. You know, when's the new record coming out? When are you guys doing music?" And then there's me, who very quietly said to him, you know, "No shade, I do love Blue Bloods. Obviously, I'm here because I'm a New Kids fan.
Because of the group, yeah."
I said to him, "But your top performance for me always is going to be Cartwood Lipton." I said, because there's no disputing that you were the perfect.
Yeah.
You were
no one else could have done it.
Perfect person to do that. And he just seemed, for a second, I don't think he was prepared for anybody to bring up Band of Brothers at a New Kids concert. But there I was. Once a history nerd, always a history nerd.
Exactly. I don't care what setting we're in. I don't care if you're surrounded by screaming women. Right? I'm gonna start talking about the war.
And he just very quietly gave me a hug and said, "Thank you so much. That means so much to me." And I remember listening to, do you remember when HBO did the anniversary podcast for bands?
Yeah. I listened to that.
It was 10 episodes, and each, like, they had select cast members.
Yes, I remember that.
Donnie did the episode that correlated to
Lip's narration, right?
To Lip's narration of the Breaking Point. Yeah. And he talked about how he would call up Cartwood Lipton, and, you know, Mrs. Lipton would pick up the phone and she'd be like, "Oh, hold on, Donnie, he's on the roof." And he was 80 at the time, and Donnie's like, "He's on the roof fixing his house because his house needs to be fixed." And that's just the mentality of this generation, is that they need to be fixed.
Yeah, I'll just do it myself.
And I remember Donnie saying that Lipton told him he only sleeps like 3 or 4 hours a night. And Donnie's immediate question was, "Well, is that a direct result of the war?" No. Cartwood Lipton just loved life so much, he didn't want to miss anything.
He didn't want to miss anything, so he would only sleep a little bit.
And it's something, you know, to remember a very specific piece of a podcast that I listened to for the first time 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
That means it's important, right? It resonates. And that's how Lipton was. He wanted to live and enjoy his life. I think that Lipton is a very smart pick for you to say your favorite.
Thank you.
And obviously, as much as I love Cartwood Lipton, and, you know, I'm a fan of Donnie, I really have to go with Joe Liebgott. And my moment has to be episode 9, when he's translating for the German prisoner, or the prisoner in the German POW camp. When he's translating for that gentleman, and then when he has to tell them that they have to go back behind the gates.
That bit always upsets me.
They need to be seen by Doctor. And he says to Major Winters, I can't do that, sir. And Winters says, "You have to, Joe." Ross McCall really just is. Yeah. There is no shadow of a doubt. Ross is gone in that moment. That is.
That's all Joe got.
That is not even a man at war. That is a boy at war.
Yeah.
Who is seeing what could have been his family's fate.
Yeah.
As a Jewish American.
Yeah.
And he's grappling with the reality of what is happening here. It's not just we're shooting Germans.
Yeah, it's a totally different ballgame after that.
And they're putting innocent individuals
people,
behind gates, behind bars, killing them in mass execution for their religion. And I think that Ross really, nobody could have done that better.
No, absolutely not.
Nobody could have done that better.
It's such a hard moment, but yet it is a
hard moment to watch. Even all these years later, it's such a hard moment to watch.
Yeah, you just see his whole demeanor change when he says, "I can't do that," and
becomes
Dick
a little
says,
boy.
"You have to."
He becomes a little boy.
Yeah,
he just turns in on himself and cries. It's
I
really,
think that
really
would count as one of my favorite moments. I'm gonna flip it over to you. Who's your favorite in Masters of the Air? We have so many, but we've discussed this where we discussed
this. Yeah. And I feel like the obvious answer, and everybody's waiting for it, is, are you Buck or Buck? Are you Team Buck or Team Bucky? Are you Team Rosie? Love them all. Yeah. But I always go for the story that doesn't get told all the way through.
Yeah.
Because then I get to I get to dig.
I get
my shovel and I get to dig, and I'm like, tell me more about Bremen.
I need all of this.
So my answer is Blakely's crew.
Yeah.
My answer is Blakely's crew, and what happened after Bremen. The direct result of them being grounded, them becoming promoted to getting promoted to officers, working in the operations office at Thorpe Abbott's. That's something that Winnie and I think we've been digging through for a while.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And Bremen was such a big turning point in the war. I feel like it was the linchpin where they really did become the Bloody Hundredth. It was like, that's where they start to turn.
Absolutely.
And then Munster is the one that just wipes them all out.
Yeah.
That I'm like, why are we not? And I get it. We had 9 episodes and there was a COVID budget, and it was a difficult time to be filming anything of that size. But I'm like, why did we not tell this story?
There's such a lot to
Why did we not dig further?
Yeah.
Because then you read books like Murphy's book and Lucky's book, and even Cros's book.
Yeah.
And it's like you start to put the pieces together from these three different men, and you're like, holy shit.
It's like there's
so much we could have seen. They could have done a whole episode on it, honestly.
I feel like we had so much to look forward to, and yet it wasn't utilized. Like,
no,
this will always be my biggest gripe, but after reading Murphy's book and reading how Murphy and the crew had to bail out, that would have been an excellent scene to film.
Yes,
it would have been it would have been great. And then also reading Lucky's book, where obviously Lucky made it through his 25, albeit a bit later than his original crew. He still is very descriptive of the Bremen mission.
Yeah.
To the point it takes 3 chapters of this book. They're not very long chapters, but he spreads it across 3 things, and he describes how he saw like one fort was spinning out, another fort got hit by flak. And if we'd have had an episode from Lucky's perspective and seen it from his eyes of all of his friends essentially dropping like flies, bailing out, going out of formation, it would have been excellent. And I'm not gonna, go on and say that we shouldn't have had the POW arc. We should have. I just wish that there had been a tiny bit less and maybe a little bit more of up in the sky stuff.
Yes. I think
as
that's
much
because
as I love the POW
they wanted
arc.
to show more of Callum and Austin.
Yeah, which I don't
no
want to
shade,
say it was bad. Yeah.
But the show is narrated by Crosby.
Yeah, and I feel like they said, it's based,
a lot of it is from Cros's book,
but they don't say that.
We could have very easily had a different. The show could have very easily taken a turn and gone a different direction had they followed Cros's book more linear.
Yeah,
because again, anybody who's read Harry Crosby's book, he goes on for like 2 chapters of his time in Russia.
Yeah,
he went to Russia on a mission.
On a mission, yeah.
Whereas Rosie bailed out over Russia. Cross was there of his own, on his orders. Those were his orders to be in Russia. And he goes in depth about his time in Russia. And I'm like, that would have been so cool to see.
Yeah. It would have been
There's
incredible.
A whole chunk of the book that just
got like thrown out.
And self-indulgently, I also enjoyed the little story about Leafy Hill.
I know it's technically not an HBO War moment, but that is also one of my favorite stories.
That is a story that tickles me every time I read it.
It was sick work by everyone involved, but I am cackling every time.
We're not going to go in. We're not going to tell the story of Leafy Hill. All we'll
seek
say
it out
is
yourselves.
Seek it out yourselves,
because it's
good.
So bad that it's good.
All I'll say is it shows how dedicated and how much the men of the 100th respected Harry Crosby.
Yeah, but the disappointment at the end where it was, I had to stay. That's the only clue I'm giving away, is that at the end of this story, Cros simply wrote, and I stayed in England. And it's, oh my God, he just wants to go home to his wife. Let the man
really
live.
just wants to go home to his wife.
He wants to go home to his wife, let the man live. But yeah, we feel like everyone missed out a lot of things.
There was a lot that we could have gotten. And again,
yeah,
you have to cap it somewhere, right? There's a budget.
Yeah, but come on.
But
There was so much that they could have done.
yes.
But
so much they could have taken from the
yeah,
books and really put onto screen.
That's our 2 cents with Masters of the Air. It brought us together and it brought you this podcast, but boy, do we have questions.
Boy, do we have a lot of
Do
questions.
we have questions for Tom Hanks and Spielberg? We are so sorry, but we need to know everything. Like when Harriet told us about that deleted scene in our previous episode.
There was a whole moment where the Red Cross girls and the land girls of Thor Babbitts were just sitting in the officers' club,
and
drinking and smoking and having a girls' night where they decided we don't want to be with the boys.
Give me that.
That's like,
why are we getting rid of this? Please.
Well, I would say, when are we getting the deleted scenes from Masters? But we're still waiting for the deleted scenes from Band of Brothers, and it's been 25 years.
Like 25 years at this point. Why? What are they holding back from?
No.
Please, Tom Hanks. Please, Steven Spielberg. Please, Gary Getzman. Feed me.
We know they're out there.
We know they're there. Didn't they confirm that they're also?
Of course they did.
Give me it. Give me it now.
I'm gonna switch gears for a second and kick this one over to you because it's for you.
Oh.
One of our listeners wants to know, how did you end up in the States?
I could make it a really short version. I could make it really whimsical, like a fairy tale. But it was essentially, I met an American airman when I was obviously in my hometown, and I fell in love with him after 2 days. And he said, come home with me. And I said, okay, let's do that. I had known him for 6 months, maybe less, 5 or 6 months. And I said, yeah, I'm just going to change my whole entire life and move to the USA. And now here I am. And I've been here for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I could make it so whimsical. But really, you know, the stories of the war brides getting on the boat to come to America.
Oh, yeah.
The tradition carried on because a lot of women from my hometown fell in love with American airmen. And they said, oh, let me go home with him in 1946.
So it wasn't just you.
Yeah. Not just me.
It wasn't just you.
There's a whole legacy behind me of the women that we talk about and want to talk about that did the exact same thing.
Wow.
So that's how I ended up here. I liked it here initially, but now I'm starting to really miss Monster Munch and Wagon Wheels. And the only way I get Wagon Wheels now is my mother or Claire. Those are my wagon wheel dealers. Thank you, everyone. Like, to the point where when Gabby came home from England after the Mighty Eighth tour, with We Happy Few, Gabby snuffled in 2 packs of wagon wheels in her luggage.
And that
to mail to
gravy.
Me. And gravy. It was wonderful.
Claire took me to an Asda, and I was walking around like I was on another planet.
It's incredible, isn't it?
And I was like, oh my God. First of all, I was like, they still have loaves of bread in the UK? In America,
yeah,
they sell you the
tiny,
whole loaf. They sell
milk.
You the whole loaf and gouge you for it. And if you don't finish it, well, oh well.
Oh well. Did you see the tiny milk too?
I saw the tiny milk.
Tiny little milk.
I saw the tiny milk. We do have tiny milk in America.
Yeah, but it's different kind of tiny milk, isn't it?
I did see the tiny milk. I was baffled at the no grape jelly. Baffled.
Yeah, about that. We don't have that.
We were picking up little odds and ends to make lunch for one day on the tour. And I said, let's just get bread and peanut butter and jelly. And she's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And she's standing in front of the jams and the jelly and like the marmalades and stuff at the Asda. And she says to me, what kind do you want? And I'm not paying attention. I'm picking out peanut butter. So I'm crouched down and I'm just like, oh, get grape. And she's like, pick something else.
We don't have that.
I said, are they out of grape? She goes,
pick something
no,
else.
we don't have grape. I was like,
is you nearly having a coronary about it?
Where did I go?
Mars.
Where am
it's bad.
And was so wild because like the Asda was like, I would equate it to a Walmart.
It is. It's the
There was
parent
clothes, there
company.
was like, greeting cards and toys, and I was like, oh, it's like Walmart.
Yeah, Asda is the child of Walmart.
Okay. So I was also baffled at the price of everything at the end because we had gotten a pretty hefty amount of stuff, and I was like, I'll pay for it, it's fine.
Yeah, easy.
And it was like 35 pounds. And I looked at everything and I went, easily 80 in the States.
Did they miss any? Yeah, you're like,
no, we self-checked out.
No, I know.
And I'm like,
but it's like, did I drop something?
Did I drop something? Did I scan everything? I'm like, easily 80 back home. Easily.
That's another reason why I've had enough of it here. It's
I don't blame you.
Expensive.
God, I'm born here, and I think some days I've had enough of it here.
It's fine. I'll adopt you. You can come with me as my child.
You don't have to adopt me. I'll just get a work visa.
But it's just easier. It's more fun if I say, and this
is my 36-year-old child.
I think that'd be quite funny. Oh, all this talk of food. Next question is favorite food and drink.
I run on iced coffee most days.
Yeah.
To the point where I get up to the Starbucks in my office. There's a Starbucks on one of the floors in my building, and they tell me, your usual? And I go, yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. The usual, which is a venti sugar-free vanilla iced coffee with room for milk.
Yum. Yeah.
When I'm home, I brew hot coffee.
It's hot coffee, yeah. I can't do iced coffee. It gives me a headache now for some reason. Don't know what it is.
Even in the winter, there's something about it. I don't know. I also get down a little bit quicker at work. Yeah. It's iced coffee.
Definitely cherry Coke. I know you don't like cherry things, and you're gonna make that face. I knew it. I saw it coming even before you did it. I was like, she isn't gonna like this.
No, just like straight Diet Pepsi, cherry Coke, or a Coke Zero, but nothing with cherry.
I do like a crispy Diet Coke, I will say. I had one just last night.
There's something
Mexican
about a fountain Diet Coke with a piece of lemon in it.
Oh, see, I'm more of a lime kind of gal.
I could do that too.
Love lime.
The lemon is good. My mother says it's like drinking lemon pledge, but when was the last time she drank lemon pledge? I don't know.
Well, hold on now.
Yeah. I also love an Aperol Spritz or a dirty martini.
I'm more of a get me a pint kind of gal, but
I used to be.
Yeah, again,
you can Corona used to be my drink of choice.
You can take a girl out of England. You can't take the England out of a girl. That's what's going to be funny when we eventually meet and we go to a bar, whether it's here or whether it's in England. It will be you with a nice cocktail, and then there's me with a pint of Guinness.
Well, if they make cocktails.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. You went to, what pub did you go to in Cambridge?
The Eagle.
The Eagle, and they said we don't do cocktails.
I asked for a dirty martini, and they said, sorry, ma'am, we don't make cocktails. And I said, okay. And then I saw the Aperol on the bar. I said, how about an Aperol Spritz? He goes, okay, sure.
That's also a cocktail.
I was standing between Claire and Matt Leitch, and Matt goes, isn't that a cocktail? I said, it is. I said, I just don't think he wants to take the shaker out and make the martini.
Yeah, I'm going to be real with you. He could not be asked.
No, he didn't want to take the shaker out.
Couldn't be bothered.
He was like, this American wants a what? No.
No, I'm feeling lazy. He just wants to pull a pint and have done with it, unfortunately.
Well, I still tipped him, so.
Hey, it's fine. It was worth it in the end for him to lie.
To lie. Yeah, he lied and he still got tipped. It's fine.
Favorite food. Okay, my favorite food changes all of the time. At the moment,
food depends on my mood.
Yeah, at the moment, it's a really big Italian sub sandwich, but I'm stuffing Ruffles in there for the extra crunch.
Ruining a perfectly good Italian sandwich by putting Ruffles in it.
Would you prefer I take them out and eat them on the side?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that for you.
You don't put chips in your sandwich. That's a British thing.
I love putting chips in a sandwich.
Keep putting the chips in your sandwich if you love it.
I love it. I love the extra crunch and the little pizzazz that it brings. I don't really get out much, as you can tell. Chips in my sandwich is the height of of all the goings on here. But again, also, I have to be in the mood. Mexican food too.
I like Mexican food a lot. There's a place by my house that I order from very frequently.
Yes.
They're one of those like lean Mexican kitchens. So I never feel as guilty.
It always sounds really good and it always looks really good when I look at pictures. Like you send me
I never feel guilty after I eat there.
No, because it's not like you don't feel icky either.
It's not like drowning in sauce. It's not covered in oil. It's just, you can get chicken tacos and not feel like a glutton about it, which I like.
Yeah, because a lot of places just sort of dump stuff on top of them and then it's all kind of soggy and falling out and
But also I am born and raised New York Italian. So if I didn't say that I loved a good Sunday dinner, macaroni, meat in the sauce, I would be remiss. That is my, if there was a last meal, it would be that, and it would have to be my mother's cooking.
Yeah, which I'm so excited to try, by the way. That's like one of the things I've said when I come visit is I want to go to Gabby's family home and go eat everything they make. They're gonna not like me afterwards because I'll be eating everything.
She cooks very much a little like my dad's mom and a little like her mom, which is two separate parts of Italy. So we get a lot of we get a lot of, Neapolitan food, and then we get a lot of Sicilian as well. So it's a good mix of it's a good mix. We're the family on Christmas Eve that eats only fish.
Which is like my dream.
We're
I love
we're the Seven Fishes family.
Oh, amazing.
And it's just my favorite meal of the year. I won't eat all day
to make room.
And then we get to dinner and I'm like, I would be like the cartoon character that tucks the napkin into their collar and it's like, the fork and the knife, and I'm like, let's go.
I love how you sent me pictures of all of that. I love fish. I hardly ever cook it. I hardly ever prepare it at home. So when you're snapping pictures of all of this fish, I'm like, oh my God. It looks so good too. It looked amazing. I can't talk about food anymore because my stomach will rumble and everyone will hear it. What part
the microphones pick up everything? Jeez.
What part of World War II knowledge has affected us the most?
Oh gosh.
I think we have the same one when we spoke about this when we first got the question. And I think we both said it was
the wasp.
Yeah.
It was knowledge of, even my mom said this. There was a piece on the CBS Saturday morning show 2 weekends ago, it was last weekend.
Yes.
And she sent me a text and she was like, hey, Google this and see if you find the video. It was on this morning. It's about the women pilots in the war. And I said, okay. Not knowing it was related to the new book Spitfires that just came out.
Yes, which we're very excited to read.
Very excited.
More on that later.
Yes. This was about the women of the ATA, so the Air Transport Auxiliary, which was England's version of the WASP.
The equivalent.
Funny enough, Jacqueline Cochran, was one of the founders of the WASP.
Yeah.
Was an ATA pilot before she came back to the States to fly for the WASP.
Yeah.
And you kind of know going in, like, these women flew planes, but you don't realize that they were civilian pilots.
Yeah, they weren't
recognized by the military, but they were trained under military. They were trained to fly like the Army. That was the one thing. They're trained to fly like the Army. They were trained by men of the Army. They went through ground school, navigation, meteorology, all of this stuff that the men who flew in combat had to go through. Morse code. And yet, nothing.
They were not
disbanded
given the
in 44.
recognition.
Disbanded in 44. No military recognition, no veteran status till 77.
Diabolical.
And I mean, I know we talked about this. We did a whole 3-part series on the women of the WASP, but it's like you read it and you want to like reach through the pages of the book and just shake somebody.
Yeah.
You're like, how could you not?
Now I'm reading about...
They towed targets for the men to shoot at. Yeah. That's like taking your own life in your hands. That's like, well, if I die, I die. but the men can practice their targets.
Yeah. And also, if I die, I die. I'm not going to be given military honors or be treated as a veteran at my burial.
The fight for them to be buried in Arlington. The fight.
Now that I'm reading, outside of WASP or like ATA theme things, and I'm reading more about General Hap Arnold, I now see how tired he was, and it's not an excuse for what happened to these girls, but he was so stretched thin that he was involved with the Mighty Eights, he was involved with the ATA through Jackie Cochran, he was involved in the WASP. I think the stress of war, he was just so stretched thin that he got to a point where he just sort of went, yeah, go ahead. Or when it came to the WASP being disbanded and them fighting for the militarization that they rightfully deserved, I don't think he had anything left. He didn't have any energy left for it. And I think that's why his son took over in the 70s.
I think
with the women.
I hate to say that. I think that without his son, they wouldn't have gotten as far as they did.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that.
But I'm so glad
they did.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
One of my favorite photos of that era of them fighting is they're on Capitol Hill. It was one of the photos that John and Josie Egan's daughter sent us.
Yeah.
And it's the only color photo in the set that we have.
Yeah.
And it's all of these women from the WASP in the 70s. They're older, they've lived, their kids are grown. And they're you could still see the fight in their eyes.
I was gonna say that,
and
you
I just
obviously
love it so much.
When we first got it, obviously our eyes are gonna fall straight to Josie, because that's who we were talking about and looking for.
Yes.
And she stood, but she's sort of very furrowed, and her eyes are very narrow.
Very,
and I'm
like, I will fight until I have no fight left in me. And even then I'll find more fight somewhere.
Yeah, she's kind of stood in this beautiful suit, but she's looking, and she's very much like, don't cross me today. And I love it.
I do.
Which reminds me, I want to post that one again. When this comes out, I want to repost that one. Because it's just so good.
It is a great picture. It's a great picture.
I think that has affected us the most.
I think it's changed the way that we think of things and we do things. And it's kind of given me this moment to stop and go, well, these women did it for nothing, right? They didn't care what the pay was. They didn't care about the sleeping conditions. They just wanted to fly. They wanted to do what they loved. And I think it's given you and I a moment to kind of step back and go, well, we can do whatever we want. Right?
We can do whatever we want.
The world is right. The world is wide open and out there. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah. What was it that Dr. Kate said? Boring women have clean houses.
Boring women have clean houses.
And we only get one go around. So do what you want to do. And I think that part as well has been very much, we will take this and we will keep carrying it on.
Yes.
What is the next question? I can't believe there's so many.
I can't believe how many people were interested in you and me.
Right?
You guys need a hobby.
You think I need to get out more? Kidding.
We're kidding. We appreciate you guys so much.
We so do.
Winnie, what's your favorite 1940s music or song? This one came from one of our very close friends, so.
This is when it's difficult because I love so much of it that I can't really pinpoint. The obvious ones are Glenn Miller.
Yes.
And Harry James and the Andrew Sisters. I've been listening to this era of music since I was really young, but I just didn't realize it was this era of music. Like, when the first Narnia movie came out, I forget what year it came out, but I was only young. And there is a part where Lucy is running into the wardrobe and Oh Johnny by the Andrew Sisters is playing.
Okay.
And I was obsessed with it, but I didn't know what it was until about 3 years ago. I kind of clocked what the song was.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I fell back in love with it. What I also love the Ink Spots. I know it's not particularly niche, but it feels kind of niche to me. when you say the ink spots, people are going to think of Fallout, the video game.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, one of the ink spot songs is one of my favorites from the era. It's called I'm Making Believe, and Ella Fitzgerald features in it, and it's so haunting, so beautiful. You can just imagine soldiers dancing with their lovely sweetheart, taking a quiet moment where they forget that they're even at war. So
yeah,
it's beautiful. What's yours?
So like you, the obvious Glenn Miller, the Andrews Sisters, Artie Shaw. There is a version of
I forgot about Artie Shaw. I'm
so
so sorry, you guys.
I'm a frequent flyer on the Glenn Miller channel on Pandora. And there is a version of These Foolish Things by Artie Shaw that I can only ever get it on Pandora.
Spotify don't have the license for it for some reason.
Spotify doesn't have it. You can look it up on YouTube. That version of it.
It's beautiful.
It's a very very beautiful version of the song. And like you said, you can picture a soldier and his sweetheart just having a moment where it's just them dancing and the war is behind them for a minute.
Yeah.
Obviously the Andrews Sisters, there's a couple of Andrews Sisters songs where Danny Kaye features with them, where they feature with Danny Kaye. I love
Danny Kaye.
And those are some of my favorites because you can even hear how animated Danny Kaye is when he sings.
Yeah. You can
and
just
I think
hear
that's one of the reasons why I
is.
love Danny Kaye so much. You can just see and hear the animation in his voice and kind of picture his face getting a little goofy and a little silly. And also, you and I listen to this a lot. GI Jive Radio.
Yes.
So our friend from GI Jive Radio, if you guys aren't following him on Instagram, definitely give him a follow.
Absolutely do that. He is so sweet. This kid
has renewed my faith in the future. Yeah. He is 13 years old.
He's
13
only
or 14
a
years
baby.
old.
Yeah.
He's so involved. He's got his own radio station with songs of the 30s and the 40s. They're sponsored by, he's sponsored by the Museum of the Mighty Eighth.
Yeah.
And there are just all the hits of the time. Ads for Lucky Strike.
I love the
ads to join the WAC, ads to join the WAF. It's like, and then the like the adventure hours, like the radio shows.
There's adventure, the
play
scripted
sometimes.
Radio shows. Wonderful.
And it's very fun because like sometimes I'll just turn it on in my house.
Yeah.
And I'll let it play and I'll be cooking dinner and there's a radio show on and I'm just like, this must have been what it was like for my grandmother.
Yeah.
When her husband was at war, when my grandfather was away, that she would have the radio on and hear these radio shows. And she, you know, my uncle was only a baby. He'd be in the high chair and she'd be cooking and or making dinner or sitting with her mother waiting to hear news. And this must have been what it sounded like for her.
Yeah.
And they're not really like remastered or anything.
They've still got that crackle.
Very authentic.
Yeah.
There's still the crackle and the grit, and I think that's really cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah, I really, really like that channel. So if you guys download the Live 365 app, he's on there.
Also on Roku TV, if you have a Roku TV.
Oh, if you have a Roku. Okay. I don't have a Roku.
GI Jive Radio. I do in my room.
So there you go. That's how you do it. I do
That's how I listen to it when I read.
Oh, it's great if you're reading a book. Very relaxing.
Yeah. Like when we're researching for episodes as well, to kind of, not like I'm ever not in the mood to do it, but there's something about having music of the time kind of next to you where you're like, oh yeah, it kind of puts you in the mood for it, which is also a great song. In the Mood, Glenn Miller.
Great song. Tried and true classic of the times.
Exactly. Here's our last one. What are your 4 favorite films? And I believe the subtitle of this question was Pretend Like It's Letterboxed.
Yes. Pretend like I said to Winnie, I still don't understand Letterboxd, but sure. Pretend like it's Letterboxd.
I've been practicing for this for years.
This is Winnie's Olympics.
It truly is. The fact I have to pick 4 is a crime.
Oof.
Actually. Okay. So
you first.
Number four. It is Summer Stock. Judy Garland and Gene Kelly. And I think are my favorite pairing of the time.
Okay.
I do like Gene Kelly and Vera Ellen, but there's something very special about Gene Kelly and Judy Garland. It's a musical. It's great. It's so silly. It's like Gene Kelly's silly era. It's kind of between, it's before Singing in the Rain, I believe.
Okay.
But he's kind of in like his little silly. It's great. Um, Number three has to be a movie from when I was 14 and it's called Wild Child. Emma Roberts is in it.
Okay.
It's so good. You know how you feel about League of Their Own?
Yeah.
I feel that way about Wild Child. It's kind of one of those movies that made me. It's so silly. It's so dramatic. It's a rom-com. Everyone should watch it. What is her name? Natasha Richardson's in it. It's the last movie she did before she passed away. So I think in that sense it's also really special because what a great movie to prematurely end a career on.
Oh wow.
If that doesn't sound bad. Number two is Pride. Andrew Scott is in it. It's wonderful. It's such a beautiful movie. I saw it 18 times at the movie theatre. Don't judge me. I used to work at a movie theatre. I got to watch it for free. I got to watch it for free.
The Clubmobile is a judgment-free zone. So
thank you. My favorite movie of all time. This is number one. I think
this is number one, she thinks.
My favorite movie of all time ever, On the Town with Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra and Jules Munchin. That movie changed my life.
That is such a great movie.
Truly, I don't know what is in that movie, but I have been on the town pilled ever since. I will watch it once a week.
It's a great movie.
Honorable mentions to Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. That's a great movie. And also Moonstruck, that Gabby had me watch for her birthday back in February.
Oh yeah.
What a great movie. I love Moonstruck.
I'm a little shocked at your favorite pairing, that it's
really?
not William Powell and Myrna Loy.
I know. In like musical terms?
Okay. In musical terms.
I would say it's Gene Kelly and Judy Garland.
Okay.
But if I'm going for favorite pairing ever in a movie, it's Will Powell and Myrna Loy.
There's something about them.
But The Thin Man is not one of my top 4. It's like top 10. It's the high end of the top 10. It's 5.
See, and you introduced me to the Thin Man movies, and
so
I
good.
am so
silly.
in love with them. They're so great. But I do have to agree with you. I don't think they would be in my top 4 either.
Yeah,
I'm a little like confused that the person who sent this question in, and I don't know who it is, they sent it anonymously. They sent it in anonymously.
Yeah.
Asked for top 4 and not top 5.
It's because Letterboxd is only top 4.
Oh.
So the subtitle of them saying make it like a Letterboxd question.
Well, Letterboxd, what the hell?
On Letterboxd, it's top 4. Wait, hang on. One final honorable mention. Elvis. Elvis.
I still haven't seen Elvis. It's on my list. I know. Don't shake your head at me. Good. Don't shake your head at me. I know.
I was very judgy. I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't watch it for 2 years. I refused.
Did you watch it after you watched Masters?
I watched it after I watched Masters of the Air, and I'm gonna be really, really real with you. If I'd have seen him as Gail Cleven after watching him as Elvis, I would have been horrifically disappointed in that man. That's how good he is as Elvis. If I'd have seen Austin Butler as Gail Cleven after watching him as Elvis, I would have said, that's not the same guy. But because I watched it after, I think both performances are great, but him as Elvis is like a defining moment in his career. He's not going to be able to escape that. And that is not derogatory. That's with all the affection.
Say, like, Chris Evans will always be Captain America.
Yeah. But this is kind of
no
different.
shades to Anthony Mackie, but Chris Evans will always be.
He's always going to be Captain America.
Yeah,
and it's not a bad thing. Elvis,
like Robert Downey Jr. will always be Iron Man.
But then again, I think I love Elvis so much because I love the director Baz Luhrmann so much. He's made so many great films that I love. But Austin as Elvis, like, it's incredible. He was robbed of that Oscar. And then I'm gonna leave it there because I will talk about that for hours. I'm not like an Austin girly. I think he's wonderful and he's so sweet.
You're a film girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Austin. I think he's a wonderful man. He was robbed of that Oscar. But I'm not gonna go into like everything else with that. Because we will be here for quite some time.
Fair enough.
Purely based on the fact that I love films so much. Go, what are your four?
This was very hard, and I think I'm gonna go in no particular order.
Yes.
A League of Their Own.
Obviously.
It was the first 1940s era film that I had ever seen. And the impact of the war was lost on me at the time because I was just like, oh, I love it. Girls playing baseball.
You were only a baby when you
I was a
watched
kid.
it too.
Yeah, I was very young when I
little.
first watched it. It came out in 91 or 92. I was young, and my dad would keep it on, and it was just, and I remember the soundtrack really sticking with me. The music was so great.
It's such a good soundtrack too.
And it's just always been, if it's on, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
If I'm flipping channels and I see it, even if it's the last 10 minutes.
And we're crying every time at the last 10 minutes.
And we're crying every time at the last 10 minutes. That moment when they're in the Hall of Fame.
And they're singing.
And they're looking at their photos of when they were young girls. I still weep like a baby.
But then we're weeping, but then we're laughing at the lady kicking dirt.
Yeah. I love the end because I love that those are the real women the end who played ball, that are playing ball at the end of the movie. And they're still doing it. And they're still like fighting with the umpire, kicking dirt on his shoes. And I'm like,
they've got a good arm too.
Go girl, get it.
They're still extremely strong and they're still chucking that ball.
Moonstruck, as you said.
Such a great movie. I'm so happy you told me to watch this movie for your birthday. I was never dubious.
That was my thing for my birthday, because it was like the middle of the week, and when he's like, what are you doing for your birthday? I said, do you want to watch a movie with me? Like after I get done with work? And she's like, yes.
Say less.
So we watched it, as we do with most movies that we watch for the pod or anything like that. We sync up and we watch together.
Yeah.
Moonstruck, for those that don't know, is the Sharon Nicholas Cage movie that was filmed in the neighborhood in Brooklyn where my parents lived. My dad grew up in that neighborhood. They lived there after they got married. They went to college in the neighborhood. I lived in that neighborhood before we moved out of the neighborhood. The bakery that features in the movie was a real bakery. They did not change the name of the bakery.
And it's not open anymore?
It's not open anymore. It's been closed for a number of years, Camararies.
Because of COVID, I assume.
No, well
before that?
Oh, it's been closed for a number of years. Well before COVID. Camararies used to make the best bread. And if you watch the movie, you'll see it. That's it on the inside. That's how big it was on the inside. Now it's a place called the Mutz Lab. It's a mozzarella store, and they make fresh mozzarella in the back.
I mean, I would still try that.
They make sandwiches and stuff. Now it's the Mutz Lab or the Motz Lab, however you want to say it. On that corner. I
feel cheated though that I can't eat that bread.
I will get you bread from somewhere that's really good. I promise.
Thank you.
But it was a real bakery. That's really what it looked like. They really did film out there in that area of Brooklyn. My dad remembers it. My mom and dad remember it very vividly. I think it was 85 or 86. They remember it very, very clearly. The only place that I think might have been fudged or made up for the movie is the restaurant, the Gran Ticino.
Yeah.
But Winnie and I will quote that movie to each other all the time, because there's a scene at the end where Cher's mother is making breakfast and Nicolas Cage comes in and Cher's yelling at him that he has to leave.
Get out.
And her mother, Olympia Dukakis, plays her mother, and she does it brilliantly.
I love her, by the way. She's so great.
To him, "You want some oatmeal?" And he says, "Yes." He's just very dry. Goes, "Yes, Mrs. Castorini, I would love some oatmeal." there's a lot of mornings where we're having breakfast and it's like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm making breakfast. Or, oh, I'm making oatmeal, or I'm eating my oatmeal. And the other,
we just
whichever one of us is eating the
send.
oatmeal, the other one will say, yes, Mrs. Castorini, I would love some oatmeal.
Didn't you tell your mom that you had me watch Moonstruck? And she said, why did you have her watch that? I love it. And then you had to tell her that I loved it so much.
I did. And I feel like it's a very, yes, Cher won the Oscar for it, but I feel like there's a very niche pocket of the Italian, of the world, who really loves it and appreciates it and respects it. And I think that's the Italian American community from Brooklyn.
And then there's just me in the background.
And then there's like, Winnie in the background, like, I really like this. My British friend, I really like this movie.
It's so good.
It's a great movie.
You can do it. I believe in you. I know it's hard. It's so hard.
I have to say Goodfellas.
I've really seen
giving it out to everybody that I'm like, born and raised.
Really so Italian that it hurts.
Italian. Goodfellas.
I've never seen it.
All right, well, we'll add it to the list.
Thank you.
It's just one of those movies. You got to see it. I took a class in high school, and it was kind of like, the different ways of the world and the eras, and and he was like, if you guys are, if you guys can appreciate it for what it is, we'll watch Goodfellas in class.
That's not a bad deal.
And honestly. I was in high school and I was like, appreciate it. I've been watching it for ages. Watching it forever.
This is on a loop at home.
When it's really, really cold out, the family text goes off and it's Frankie Carbone weather out there today. And it's like, yeah, it is.
Amazing.
So we'll add that to your list.
Thank you. I feel like it's again one of those movies I need to watch. And I've been intending to watch it for about 10 years. And I just never get around to it for some odd reason.
We'll get there. And I guess
favorite movie of all time ever.
I said this was in no particular order, so
that's true. Okay, that's all right then.
I'm gonna have to go with. See, I love a good 80s film, right? And it's a toss-up, and they're two completely different types of 80s films. And I'm sitting here hemming, I'm like waffling, and I'm like, is it Ferris Bueller or is it Pretty Woman?
I haven't seen Ferris Bueller. I have seen Pretty Woman.
You're killing me.
A million times. I've seen Pretty Woman a million times, and I love it. I've never seen Ferris Bueller.
And I think that's like, it's the romance of it. And it's like, she really just climbs out of that moment where she becomes this, so cheesy, but she becomes a butterfly, and I
love the bit where he opens the box for her, and
that wasn't even scripted. I read somewhere that was just Richard Gere being Richard Gere.
Being silly. I love it.
But Ferris Bueller too is like a real coming of age teenage film. Even if you're not a teenager in the 80s, it's just a real coming of age film. And I think it's something that most people who haven't seen it should see it.
Yes, I will. I'll switch one over to you. I'll watch Ferris Bueller. You have to watch Some Kind of Wonderful with Eric Stoltz.
Done.
That was when I was like, I have a type, and it's American men who have ginger hair. That's when I said, oh, there it is. Got it.
I guess.
Have you seen Memphis Belle with Eric Stoltz?
Yes.
So good.
Yes, of course I've seen Memphis Belle.
Very good.
What history podcast would we be if I hadn't seen Memphis Belle?
I know, that'd be kind of bad, wouldn't it?
I'm gonna give honorable mention to Back to the Future. The whole trilogy.
So good. Which one is your favorite?
Which one is my I don't. You know what? They were on last night.
Back to back, yeah.
They were on last night, and of course the first one was on, and it was stupid late, and I was like, I'm going to bed. I've seen these 100 times.
Yeah.
My dad used to rent them for me from the video store down the block when we lived in the neighborhood in Brooklyn. And when we moved, the guy was getting ready to close.
Did he just give you all
And he
three?
just gave us all three. He said to my dad, just take them. She
Just
loves
take
them. Just take them.
take the movie.
I was so little watching Back to the Future, like
I love
enthralled
it.
with it that I can
It's
quote
wonderful.
it. I can quote it, and it's probably not a flex, but I can.
I can also. We could do a whole episode just reading the script from memory.
And my other honorable mention, this is a real out there one, but my family, if you're listening, will appreciate it. History of the World with Mel Brooks.
Mm.
Not the part 2 that came out on Hulu a year or so ago.
I'm gonna be real. I didn't get it.
The part 2. I love Mel Brooks. He's my favorite comedian. Favorite.
Wasn't.
Part 2 didn't hit.
No, I really enjoyed part 1 though.
It was
because
too. You can't do it in this climate.
No,
you can't do something like that in the climate of this world, because too many people get offended too easily at comedy, and they're missing the point of it being comedy.
Yeah,
part 1 stands on its own.
I got to watch part 1 because I wanted to watch part 2. So
you didn't even really need to watch them. I know. It's not like one of those you thought you did. But you didn't need to. But I have a DVD of part 1. It was in the $5 bin at Target 100 years ago, and I was like, oh, grabbing that.
Need that, absolutely.
But that movie, another one that I could probably quote with my eyes closed. And I have seen it a million times, and I still laugh like it's the first time I've ever seen it. Just a good one.
I love it.
Just a good, feel good. You're not having a great day. You need to like cheer yourself up a little bit. Mel Brooks.
And if you are also like us, you're having a bad day and want to cheer yourself up a little bit, why not throw on a show about World War II? Because somehow that makes me feel better. There's me and you falling asleep to Band of Brothers or Masters of the Air every other night.
Waking up was like, you fall asleep watching what? I'm like, like when I flew over to England, I had made sure I downloaded, because who knows what the Wi-Fi is going to be like.
Correct.
Made sure I had downloaded Masters on my iPad. Fell asleep with the tray table down, iPad on the tray table, Masters playing, and I was like out like a light.
Could have been the
ZQL, but I was out like a light.
I think it was a ZQL. People can't say that we ever stop working, because we
are always working.
We are always
working.
That was fun.
This was fun.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you for all the questions. I'm surprised there was so many. I was expecting
like I said, you guys need to get a hobby.
I was expecting 1 or 2.
I know. I wasn't expecting too many people to send in questions.
No, me either.
I was expecting, funny enough, I was expecting a question from like your mom or my mom, and I would have been like, why are they asking? They know the answer.
They know everything already.
Why are they asking? They know the answer.
Why would they do that?
But I was very, very happy to see that so many of you guys were so interested.
Me
too. Thank you for that.
Wonderful. We have, we say this every time, but we're excited for the next one. We have a lot going on in the Clubmobile.
This stays busy.
It never
always
stops.
Coffee perking, always donuts. Make sure you guys come by and say hi.
Please do.
We love to hear from our listeners, so
we absolutely do. But this was so great. This was
awesome.
I loved it.
I love getting to just sit and yap with you.
Yeah, we do it all the time anyway, so why not again force everyone else to listen to it?
But this was informative. This was good.
I completely agree. I think people will take this and probably use it against us, but that's fine.
But you said your favorite movie was.
You said something different.
Don't hold me at gunpoint about it.
Thank you for listening again.
Yes, thank you guys for listening. We will catch you on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.